Jesus Christ himself is making this statement about the Jews when he says, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. So right off the bat, the very first mention in the book of Revelation about Jews is that they're liars and that they're the synagogue of Satan. Not a good look. You know, you have these dispensationalists and Zionists that will try to say, oh, that's actually referring to another group of people that were calling themselves Jews. Historically, there is this other group of people. It's not referring to those who were ethnically Jewish and those who were of the religion of Judaism. False. There's no one in the first century AD who called themselves Jews other than Jews. And there's no one else in the first century AD who was a part of a synagogue other than Jews. And in fact, you can scour the entire Bible and you'll see that the only enemies of believers in churches were Jews. Why is that so hard to believe? It's not hard to believe. The people who are saying this know this is true. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So immediately after he finishes talking about the Jews being of the synagogue of Satan, then he says that the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Now, coincidence? I think not. You know, this isn't referring to the fact that the devil himself is actually grabbing people and throwing them into prison. It's referring to his agents who are going to be taking believers before the judgment seats. They're going to be casting them out of the synagogue and throwing them into prison. This is referring to Jews. Jews who hate the Lord Jesus Christ. Jews who hate the gospel, Jews who intentionally make themselves enemies of the gospel of Christ are agents of Satan, which is why he says the devil shall cast some of you into prison. So this is literally the first mention in the book of Revelation about Jews. You know, and it's funny how Zionists and dispensationalists never quote this verse. They never expound upon it. They never teach anything about it. They just want us to turn a blind eye to it, somehow apply this to some enigmatic group that didn't exist in those days. There's no one in the first century AD who are calling themselves Jews other than Jews themselves. And even though we are the real Jews, we still don't go around calling ourselves Jews. We're just saying that according to the Bible, we would be the real ones. What do we call ourselves? Disciples, believers, Christians. We don't go around saying that we're going to synagogues. The only people who attend synagogues are Jews.